melodies and simple accompaniments. And Mozart was the greatest in that era of all the composers. And then came the Romantic era, which was really the great era for the piano, because composers recognized the virtuosity and everything you could do with all these 88 keys. So that was the greatest time for the piano. And one of the early Romantic composers was Robert Schumann. And Robert was a very talented pianist, and he wanted to become a concert pianist. He's German. And so he went to study with the most famous piano teacher, Herr Wieck, and also called Papa Wieck. And Papa Wieck had a daughter, Clara, who was at age 13 already world famous little prodigy. And he had produced his little prodigy by basically abusing her since age 2. She had to practice 4 hours a day since age 2. The wife deserted the family because she couldn't take the father's abuse. But anyway, she was a wonderful little pianist, and he was a famous teacher. So Robert moved in with the family to study piano. He was 18 years old. He and Clara promptly fell in love. And Robert was a little concerned with the size of his hands. They weren't terribly small. It's better to have big hands when you play piano. But he wanted them to be able to stretch farther, so he put a mechanical device on his hand overnight that would cut the webbing in between the fingers so he could reach farther. And when he woke up the next morning, his hand was permanently crippled. So bad for Robert, but good for us, because he turned to composing and left us with tons and tons of beautiful music. So anyway, his romance with Claire is just one of the epic romance stories in the musical history. And they struggled for years to get Papa Wieck to allow her to marry Robert, once she became of marriageable age. And he refused. He didn't want to lose his cash cow, and he didn't want her marrying some itinerant musician. So finally, when she was 21, Robert went to court. They went to court, and the judge said, well, Claire is 21. She can do whatever she wants. So they got married and had 8 children. And then Robert went insane and drowned himself in a river. And Clara got back onto the concert scene and promoted his music for the rest of her life. And so, anyway, during their betrothal, he wrote a beautiful song called Dedication. And it was, the lyrics were a beautiful poem by a German poet, and I can't remember his name. But they start out, "You are my heart, you are my soul." And it's a very famous song. I've accompanied many singers on it. And Franz Liszt, the great pianist of the 1800s, took the song and made a transcription for piano solo. So as I like to say, now we pianists can play this beautiful song without that pesky singer.
I would use that word.
Anyway, the melody is, that's the "You are my heart, you are my soul." And an interesting thing about this song is he ends the whole song with a quote from Schubert's Ave Maria. Which I hope most of you are familiar with. And back in those days, men were different. When they were in love, they would write poetry to their beloved and worship her and idolize her. And if it was a common thing, if you were so terribly in love, to compare your beloved to the Virgin Mary. And so that's why he put that in there. And back in those days, everybody would have known why it was there. Today I have to explain it. Things are different. Microphone caddy, please. It's still on.
Leave the singing to me, okay?